Alright, in this video I want to talk about consciousness because that's basically all you are. It's who you are, it's what you are. It's just consciousness, it's an awareness. And I want to try to explain this the best I can. I've been thinking about it, meditating about it, and I'm going to try to put it into words. You see, we are not our physical bodies, such as if you lost a finger or a toe, you didn't lose a part of yourself. You lose your arms and legs, you didn't lose yourself. You're still you. Even if you're just your head or your brain in a vat, you are still you, even though you lost your body, right? So this shows our complete and utter dependence on God. I'm having trouble really expressing this to you, so I'm going to try to give you an experience of mine. This right here is basically us. Blank void. You just have your thoughts. And the thing is if you don't even have words, you don't have a language, you don't even put your thoughts into words. You're just kind of there. When I was between about 9 and 12 years old, I would end up having night terrors. And I don't really remember much at all about what they were about. But there is one part that I remember that stuck out to me. And I think it was because at the time I had trouble sleeping because of my living situation, which I'm not going to get into in this video. But because of what was going on in my living situation, I would try to shut off my senses and not move so that I could sleep. I didn't want to move because I know that if I moved, you wake up. So I was disciplining myself not to move even when I want to move. So I'll lay in bed, find a comfortable position, and just tell myself, don't move. And I would control that and focus on that because if I moved, I would wake up. I would start to break out of falling asleep. And it was annoying. And then I was telling myself to stop listening. That was the main thing that was also keeping up is listening. So I would shut off my hearing and just block out everything. And then it would either be really hot or really cold. So I would just tell myself to deal with it. It's basically like you're dead. And then the attention would be on the eyes because even though your eyes are closed, you still see things. I don't know what to call it. You see little things moving around, I don't know if it's blood moving through your eyes or what it is you're looking at when your eyes are closed. Some kind of a just imagination, something going through the eyes or across the lens of your eye anyway. A salt and pepper looking thing. You see whatever. So I would try to block out the sight. And next thing I know, I fall asleep. And then my dad would tell me about me waking up, screaming and yelling and flailing around and doing all this stuff. And I don't remember any of it. But there was a time where I remember. I remember what was going on. I was in darkness, complete utter darkness, where there's no senses whatsoever. So I couldn't see anything. It was just blank. I couldn't hear anything, couldn't smell anything, couldn't taste anything, couldn't feel anything. I didn't have any emotions. I couldn't tell up from down, left from right. There was nothing. It was just there, right? You can't tell if you're standing on something because there's no body, there's nothing. You're just there, and it's just darkness, and you're just sitting there. And I think the night terrors might have something to do with me trying to get out of this, where I'm yelling, trying to hear myself, trying to yell to someone else, maybe flailing around, seeing if I could feel anything or touch anything, could tell anything. And I think God allowed me to experience that so that I could better understand that all we are is a consciousness and awareness. And without God, we don't even have a foundation. A foundation in the sense that we don't know what is or isn't. We don't have words. We don't have any conception of anything. It's just nothing. Yet we exist. And it was like, this is what we are. That's all we are. And we have no power to do anything. We got nothing. We don't even know anything unless God reveals it to us. And that's what God has done, where He gives us a physical form. He made us. We didn't make ourselves. And it was a bit of a humbling experience. There was a lot to it where you realize that I am what I am and who I am because that's how God made me. He made me as a man. He made me with these, the way I think and the way I feel. Just there's also the selfishness, the sin with it, but that's not how He intended me to be. That's a corruption of what He made. But He's given me, and you obviously, the hearing, the sight, the language to be able to talk like this, to communicate my consciousness to your consciousness and your consciousness to my consciousness, and to be able to, to feel and to move around and to experience things because God wants us to know Him. He wants us to experience Him. He wants us to be able to fulfill the desires that He has given us. He's created us and given us these desires that we may enjoy them. And ultimately, what we want is God. Because what we want is truth. What we want is love. What we want is peace. What we want is joy. Right? What we want is someone who is perfect, who is good, who is in charge and conquers the evil. Right? We want the protector that no one can defeat. Everything that we truly want and desire is God. And He gives Himself to us. And He wants us to give ourselves to Him. Because without Him, there's nothing. All that there is God. Without Him, there's nothing. And that doesn't mean a pantheism where we're God, because obviously we're not. Right? And it's not saying that, the water here and the stones and the grass is God. No, it's part of God. Like it's Him. But it's not like your body. Your toes are not you, but it's part of you, right? You lose your toes, you're still you, but the toes are part of you, right? And that's what creation is. It's a part of God, an extension of God, where we can know God and enjoy God and be with God, right? But we choose otherwise. Some of us are very atheistic and want ourselves, and this is all we are, this blank void. And it explains narcissists. Narcissists have this feeling of that they are nothing and that they don't exist, but at the same time, they think that they deserve everything they want. And it's because they got this void, this emptiness. They don't have God. They don't accept God. They accept themselves as God, and themselves as God is that blank void. But then there becomes another problem, or there comes another problem. We're given the life, we're given the body to enjoy God, but we choose to do our own will. We choose to sin against God. We sin against God. We sin against our fellow man. We sin against ourselves. We sin against all of creation. And that means we don't deserve life. We deserve death. And that's the thing, is that we're eternal. God made us eternal. This soul that we have, this consciousness, this awareness, it's eternal, right? So since we've sinned against God, we suffer forever. So God made us, and if we lack the humility to realize that we're created and that we didn't create ourselves, God made us the way we are. And everything that we uh, truly want is God. And if we reject that and we sin against Him, like I said, our fellow man and ourselves and all creation, then we have to pay for that. There's consequences for our actions and our choices and our words. And the consequence is eternal. It's everlasting. It's not something that is just a temporary consequence. It's something you got to deal with forever, right? And that's where the whole Jesus comes into play. You see, God decided that I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. I know that you are ignorant and you're stupid and you're selfish and you're shitty. You want to do what you want. You don't care, and you're going to learn through your life consequences to things you say and you do, and it's going to be bad, and you have to pay for it eternally. He knows that's what we're going to do. So he says, you know what? I'm going to come into this world. I'm going to live as a man. And I'm going to suffer with you. I'm going to suffer for you. And I'm going to take your punishment for you. Not only that, I'm going to live a perfect life because I want you to be part of my life. So I'm going to live that perfect life. I'm going to give it to you so that you can be joined with me forever. That you can have this experience of life. You don't have to be in the void. And you don't have to suffer in the fires of hell because I've made a way. You accept me. It's your own personal choice. I'm not going to force anybody to do this. But you don't have much of an option because there's God and there's nothing else. It's not as if there's something else you can choose. There's God, yourself, which is the void, or complete rebellion, which is hell. And all we are is a void, and we've gone into rebellion, so we choose hell because we don't want to choose God. We don't want to submit to Him. It's like God says, those who uh, hate Him love death. And that's what hell is just eternal dying. You deserve death, but you're eternal. So you just die forever. You're constantly dying, constantly degrading. And you can see that in your life. After a certain age, you start to die, but you're still alive. Your body's aging and falling apart. It's dying while you live. And you get to see how the things that you've said, the things that you've done, and how it's a constant degrading in that you become worse and worse. You don't become better. You could become more and more shitty, caught into your habitual ways, and you just degrade. That's how it is without God. Everything just kind of falls apart. It's the laws of thermodynamics. Whatever's not kept in order by something outside falls into chaos. And that's exactly what's going on with us. And we just got to accept God's life. And we're upset because it's not our life. It's not our will. But God is all there is. And we have envy of that. We have jealousy of that. We want to be God. That's ultimately what it is. I know the feeling. Like, you want to be God. You want to be in charge, especially of your own life. You want to be free. Well, that's the thing. You accept God's life, you are set free. It's just a strange paradox where you submit and give to God, you die for God, and you are given life and set free. It's strange, but it's how things are. Now, I know this world is pretty jacked up when you look at man and government and the religious systems, and when you look at nature. Like, I'm showing you some pretty pictures here. but a crocodile in there gonna eat you or something, right? There's some flesh-eating disease or something like that, or something else gonna get you, right? One way or another, there's all kinds of deadly things, and the world's pretty shitty. But this is the consequence of going away from God. Things fall apart, become more degenerate, more selfish, more violent. We just gotta give it over to God, because God's gonna remake everything. We just gotta have faith and trust in that. Like, we exist, right? We're not in the void. Hopefully this is ringing a bell within your consciousness. There's something to you that this is ringing a bell here. We're not in this. He's brought us out of the darkness into the light. We're not in this void. And we can choose to accept that God is God. God's in charge. God has the responsibility. God made us, how he decided to make us. And we can accept that, or we can try to think that we're God, even though we're just a emptiness, nothingness. And ultimately end up eternally dying. So, all we are is some kind of consciousness, a soul that has life by the Spirit of God. And right now we got a physical body. But by faith, we'll get a new one that's incorruptible. But I hope you accept that. You think about these things. Thanks for watching. Take care.